we can get started. So Ashley sent a text this afternoon and said, something came up today and I won't be able to meet tonight. Sorry if it's any inconvenience. I will talk to you guys next week. So I told her no worries. Talk to you later. So so at least she let us know that she wasn't going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and next week is Halloween.
Yes.
So I mean, I don't have any small kids, but I don't know if you have kids that you need to take trick or treating. I know Ashley's single, so
I have no kids, so I'm good.
okay. So we could still meet then.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'll let Ashley know we're going to meet again next week.
I have no kids and no plans, so.
I plan on meeting as a group.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So did you look over the assignment for today?
Yes.
Okay. Did you? Oh, I'm gonna let me. So let's talk about. I'll share my screen really quick. Let's see, and you can see the Word document. All right, can you see it? Did it pop up
Yep.
yet?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So, so I guess what we'll do is we'll each fill out what major cities. I mean, we'll talk about it, but we'll each only do our own for the major cities they've settled in and the push pull factors for the two that we've each picked, right? And then maybe I would think that we need to maybe work on 10 important skills together. Don't you
Yeah.
think? The 10 important skills. And then, because it says to brainstorm, right? And then
Yes.
select 3 of the 10 ideas you brainstormed and design a program that will help the immigrants either develop those skills or learn that information. So, okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Okay. So I won't write down what you picked. But okay, so which which two ethnic groups did you pick?
So I looked at the Chinese
Oh, uh-huh.
and I looked at the Mexicans.
Oh, okay, cool. All right.
And I mean, they're, very, very different ethnicities, but um, the major trends that I saw is just, I mean, just from the map that I was looking at, mainly their where they were settling in the U.S. It was
Uh-huh.
all in major cities as opposed to uh, rural areas. At
Yeah.
least the bigger concentration.
Right.
Mexico, in contrast, had some more rural areas, but they were still in major cities. Whereas the Chinese, um, they were kind of located more in like Los Angeles, San Francisco, New
Right.
York, Chicago area.
Okay. Um, so do you want to answer all those questions for your group and then I'll go over what do you think the major push and pull factors for each group?
You know, I didn't I didn't read about that. Was that in our text?
It was in our text. So the push pull, um,
I'm going through the book here. I'm like, where did I miss that?
so where was it that um Okay, so on page 110, the push-pull factors. So it's after, so it's like it's the fourth page of that chapter.
Oh, yep, yep. Okay, I remember now.
So,
So, I mean, obviously the push pull factors for the Mexicans are um, jobs,
right,
the conditions of their country,
right,
and then maybe family members being up here, right? Like they have family who is up here and they want to come be up here
right.
with. The same with for the Chinese. Mm, and it might be the same thing, or it might be more, maybe trying to escape Chinese rule, and maybe just come to America. But mostly, I think it might be family with them. Might be kind of the biggest pull, just because they seem to have a little bit less as far as the Mexicans did.
Okay, okay. So I picked Japan. Well, and I actually looked at Vietnamese too because I thought it was kind of because my husband was telling me as I'm talking to him about the Japanese, he goes, "You need to pull up the Vietnamese and see how many because there are a lot on the so Japanese on the West Coast."
Hmm.
Um, and I thought it was really funny, but there's more Vietnamese, and I just didn't even realize it, but because we had just been to Disneyland, right? So in Orange County, there is 111,000 Vietnamese just in Orange County. I was like, I was astounded that there were so many. Um, I knew and I guess I, I, I can't tell the difference between like a Vietnamese and a Japanese. I don't, I can't. I mean, I'm sure if once I got to know them better,
Yeah,
maybe I could, but Oriental seems Oriental, not, I can't differentiate between the countries, right?
yeah.
So, anyways, I'm not, I mean, I'm not trying to be prejudiced or anything like that, but I can't tell the difference. So I thought that they were all Japanese. And so that's
Hmm.
why I picked Japanese. And then my husband's like, oh no, you got to look up Vietnamese. And so, I mean, he could tell. I mean, he knew, but because he works with a lot of, um, not Vietnamese, but Koreans. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, he's been to the Orient a whole bunch of times and I've never been. So, he gets it, whereas I just am clueless. So anyway, so I picked Japanese, and one of the interesting things about Japanese is they don't show up. There's no immigration records for them for like the first 50 years or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but there's not a lot of immigration records for them.
Oh,
And then all of a sudden there's this like huge population explosion, and there's a lot in like LA
yeah.
and in Orange County and San Diego, and then there's some up like in Santa Clara, up by San Francisco,
Hmm.
and then there's like little clusters over in like New York, but there's not a lot in the main part of the country. I mean, they're kind of like more on the either coast.
Yeah.
So for Japanese, okay. So I talked about the major cities they settled. Um, so the major push pull, I think for them, um, the Japanese, especially like up in the Santa Clara, San Francisco area, that's where, and there's some concentration up in Washington and Oregon. And I would imagine that that would be the semiconductors.
Hmm.
Um, and so I would imagine that jobs would be the pull for a lot of them. I also think that um, they do make, no matter what they do, they make better wages and um, here than
Yeah.
compared to what they make in Japan. And um, so anyway, so I think that the push is, I don't know really what the push would be from their country to get them out, but I know the pull or the draw for our country is better wages and, a better standard of living. I mean,
Mhm.
I we had some when we when I lived in Utah, we had a Vietnamese family move in our neighborhood, and they had like there's like 20 people living in their house. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess they're just, I mean, but they owned their house, so that was really cool for them. But because I don't think, you just have a small apartment and you have like several families living,
Hmm.
you know. So I think, the way of life is would be a big pull factor.
Yep.
Um, okay, so German. I picked German because I wanted to. Uh, my husband's family is from Germany, and so I wanted to see if it was really true because I mean they came from actually they came from Prussia, but anyway they came and they went to uh, like um, Michigan or Wisconsin or up there, and then they moved to North Dakota, and then they moved to Idaho, and so it's one of those where I wanted to see if the concentration was still the same as, you know, from because the diagram showed like the time frame that they actually probably came to now, and so they for the German people there was a while where there weren't a lot. I mean, they were definitely concentrated in the northern part of the country and the eastern, but they have spread out. There's like definitely some pockets in Texas. Um, so and there, I mean, and I know because some of the towns are named like Fredericksburg and Wahlberg, and so there are some towns that were the Germans founded here. Um, but I just thought it was interesting that they didn't always pick major cities to go to. I mean, I'm sure that they picked where they had family or friends or knew somebody or somebody said, "Hey, there's you can get land," but they actually went out into and farm, so it wasn't like the draw wasn't completely big cities that they had. I mean, created small. So I think the push for the Germans, uh, number one was the push for like when my husband's family came, they they came because of the conscript. They were so the country was going to make all their young men go into the army no matter what, and so there was, and they had been promised they wouldn't. So, so they were living in Russia at the time, and Catherine had said, no, you guys come and farm and because you're not native, we won't make your sons join the army. And then in the end, she still did. So they all left and went to America. And so I think that the major push at that time was, the promise of land and also that their sons, you know, wouldn't have to fight in a war. That was the big thing. So, and I think that after World War One and Two, the reasons the Germans were coming here was I don't know if you ever saw the stacks of paper money, the marks that were worthless. People had like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth. I mean, hundreds and thousand dollars of sheets of, hundreds and thousands of
Mhm.
sheets of marks, but they were absolutely worthless. The only thing you do with them was start a fire.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that there was, a way to, come and, you know, still have a better life,
Mhm.
and a lot of people did have family here that had already immigrated or fled. So I think that was, and the pull factor was still, they could still own land and have a better way of life than they had when they lived in Germany. So,
Yeah.
okay. And then I guess I'll have to write that up when we're done. All right. So you are in charge of a resource center for new immigrants from one of the ethnic groups you just researched in question one. What are the 10 most important skills or pieces of information that new immigrants will need to thrive in the United States? Okay. What do you think?
So number one, English.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I I I when I really wanted to go to France. I really did. And I wanted to go to school in France. So my first real year of college when I was, you know, 18 and 19, I took French because I was gung ho because I wanted to be able to speak the language when I got there. So,
Uh-huh.
okay, yeah, I think they need to learn English. Although
Yep.
I have to point out that the book is making it sound like, we're like a supremacist group by wanting people to speak English. I,
That-
I'm like, do you get that from the book?
yeah. Yeah. The book is, it's, yeah.
Okay, we won't go on, but I feel like it's really kind of really anti-WASP, and I'm not really WASP, but white Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
Yeah.
It's we're the bad guy in this, so
Always.
I don't. I told my husband, I said, well, soon I'll be a minority because I'll be old, older, and a woman. So I might actually get to be in a minority there. So, all right. So what else do they need to learn? We need to learn English.
um, I mean, just from, working in a customer service environment, that's, a really easy job to get. So I would say, some type of customer service skill, just because I've hired a lot of immigrants. Like I had like three guys from two from Iran and then one from the UAE working for me, and they they needed to learn customer service just because it was they're nice guys. Don't get me wrong, but you know we were working in Scottsdale, Arizona, which is a very
Oh yeah.
affluent area, and those customers expected a little bit higher of service. So that was something that I definitely had to teach them. Who be like, okay, this isn't your normal customer. This is somebody that you gotta have white glove service with. So
Okay. All right. Yeah, I can see that. Okay. Um. Okay. I think that they probably need to maybe learn to drive. I mean,
oh yeah,
okay. I mean, I think that that's a skill. I mean, not everybody comes from someplace that uh, that they drive.
yep.
Like uh, my friend, her husband was uh, an expatriate, and they went to Holland, the Netherlands, for a couple of years. And so while they were there, they never drove.
Mm-hmm.
They rode bikes and took trains and buses or walked. I mean, it was all they could do that. It was close, and you could definitely be able to do that. Um, but so they didn't drive. They didn't have a car when they were
Yep.
living there. So, that's one thing. I mean, there are some people that have that knowledge, but there are going to be some people that they come from a country where not everybody has a car. So, learn to drive would be a good skill for them to have. Uh, maybe,
I put down, like uh, job hunting skills, learning how to write a resume, interviewing skills. So I guess that'd all kind of be in the job hunting skills category.
I, but I mean, I would say that I'm, I think those are all, you know, things that people would need to learn. I think that honestly, I think how to get around. Does that make sense? I mean,
Hmm.
how I don't know how you would put that, but I mean, and not necessarily like driving, but how to get around, like whether it's this like street names or cities. Uh, I mean, I so when we came from Arizona, which by the way I really love Arizona, the grid system, it's
Yeah.
wonderful. Okay,
Mhm.
Texas, all they've done most of the time is pave a cow trail. And I'm not kidding. So there are times when I am on a road and I can be going northeast, northwest, southwest. I I mean you get almost, I mean it's just kind of a meander. There's no straight roads. And
Wow.
if you so like I'll be driving down and they do have frontage roads off the side of the freeway, so
Mhm.
but so but if you get off on the frontage road and you make a wrong turn, it might take you 15 turns to get back if you don't just hurry and flip a U-turn. I
Right.
mean, because it's not like you can go one street over and one street down and one street back. No, it's yeah, go along this way, and then it might the road that you turned right on may end up running parallel to the road you were just on, but there's no connection.
Right.
I just don't get it. Anyway, so I think that it would help to to get how to get around, or maybe get to know area. I mean, because where the grocery store is, maybe I'll do that to know area, and I'll do that as another one instead. Get to know area. So, grocery stores, libraries, uh, shopping centers. Because those would be all things that they would need to know where to go, right? Maybe
Yep.
church.
Yep. Yeah, that's one of the things I put down. Religious services.
So, okay, let's see.
Another one I put down was trade skills, like maybe um, like the farm, the the migrant workers down, in Yuma and who are just doing farming. Maybe they need to learn a specific trade or a very specialized job just to do that, or any job.
Okay, I think they need to know where their consulate is.
Hmm.
And I'm sorry, I'm going to put and get correct visa, get correct work visa, or permanent resident card. I don't, I think that's, if you're going to be here, you ought to be here legally.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, select 3 of the 10 ideas you just brainstormed and design a program that will help these immigrants either develop those skills or learn that information. Okay. So did you pick any?
Yeah, I picked obviously English.
So,
It could be either, design a program. I think there are already programs in place. Maybe like a college course, or maybe some government sponsored class that they could take.
so so um so I think one way to get to know other people um, is to offer English as a second language through a church group,
Mhm.
so that they come in contact with other, maybe people that of their same religion, that they could
Mhm.
maybe share, not only share that, but they could help them assimilate uh, at least into the English language, so
Yep.
church. So I would think English as a second language classes offered through a church group or uh, local library would be a good. Uh, okay. Um, I I think that I so so our church does a great job
Hmm.
with like employment.
Yes.
So I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel, but I
Nope.
would think that the uh, employment. Uh, so I think that the ward employment specialist could be utilized, not even just for ward members. Help.
Yeah.
I know that my dad it used to be the employment specialist for a stake, and then they did. I mean, that was not like the stake. Sorry, for that was their mission, was
Hmm.
like an employment specialist where they live for like the area, and so but then they got rid of that like mission type, that mission type calling. And so my dad volunteers at the Desert Industries in their town to help people find jobs
Yeah.
besides at Desert Industry. So, I mean, my dad still does that, but now he just volunteers his time at the local DI to help.
Mhm. Nice.
So ward employment specialists could be utilized to help immigrants uh, learn how to fill out applications. Maybe I better put job applications, uh, write resumes, um, practice interviewing. Okay. All right.
I put the one of my other ones was like customer service.
Uh-huh.
You know, there's a lot of entry level jobs that would teach them good customer service either through I mean just like either a fast food job or a job at Goodwill, a job at DI. Those types of things will teach them just the basic level um, customer service skills that they would need to be successful in that environment.
So if we were going to come up with a program that would help them learn, what would we do? How would we help them? So let me hang on. First job would teach the basic skills of customer service, but could there be a way to teach them more in-depth customer service? Or, I mean, because everybody, so everybody has a different idea. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm snobby or anything, but I would prefer to shop at a Dillard's where I'm going to have people who actually want to help me,
Mm-hmm.
and want to make sure it's right, versus going somewhere where I get no help, and they don't even care if I really shop there. I have to tell you that I went to the van store in Gilbert at the over by the temple, the Gilbert Temple. Do you know where that's at?
Yep.
Santan, that Santan area over there. No, maybe I was at Superstition Springs. Sorry, I just got a notice that my internet connection's bad, so I gotta plug in. So I think of it, maybe I was at Superstition. Either one of the two locations. I ran in because I wanted a new pair of Vans. I've been looking for I was looking for some Charlie Brown Vans,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I walked into the store and they didn't even give me the time of day. They're like, they did not want to sell me a pair of shoes. I know it's because I don't fit the van. you know, I don't fit their ideal customer, but
Yeah.
I still wear Vans. I don't care that I'm not a skateboarder, but uh, you know, at one time I was, and I broke my wrist. So yeah, not anymore so much. But anyway, so So I like to have customer service, and I think a lot of even like teenagers don't when they go out into the job field, they don't know it. So how could we, you and I, come up with a way to teach people how to do customer service? Could there be like I could there be a class offered like where you just go and you practice? Could you come up with a I mean,
Yeah, you could do that. Like maybe have like a class or something of like maybe some managers who worked in a little bit higher end service environments that
well,
understood what they were looking for or what true customer service really meant.
right, okay, so um but it would be great to have a class taught by some managers of, do you say higher end or upscale?
Um, yeah, or maybe
Upscale?
yeah, yeah.
Upscale stores. Uh, give great customer service. And it would this would be beneficial for both the immigrant and the manager,
Hmm.
uh, because they both could sure might find a new employee and the might find a job. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So so do you think that the so if you're brainstorming a list, I don't have to have them be complete sentences, correct?
I wouldn't think so, because that's what a brainstorm is just,
Right.
yeah.
So do you want me to send you this or did you already type it up?
Uh,
Do you already have yours typed up?
I do.
Okay.
But if you want me to send me yours, then that would work too.
Okay, well, I'll just send you mine and then you can, if you need to cut and paste anything from it. Um, I'll finish filling my top part, I mean, the bottom part out, I mean, the top part out, and then I'll send it to you. Um, all right. Um, sorry. I don't think I really want to, I don't need to share anything. Huh? Okay. All right. Do you have anything else?
No, that's it. So I guess we'll plan to meet Halloween on
Yeah.
the same time.